I'll call the meeting, the May 12th, 2026 meeting of the Wakefield Conservation Commission to order. This is a meeting that replaces the meeting of last week, scheduled for last week, that had to be rescheduled because of the town meeting last week. First item of business will be roll call. So following what I see on my screen, Barbara.
Here.
Eleanor.
Here.
Jennifer.
Here.
And Drew Knuth.
Here.
Okay. All present. The agenda tonight. Where was it? The first matter of business is to approve minutes from March 24th of this year and April 7th of this year. So anyone need more time with either of those, or are we good to take them up tonight?
I was only here for one of the meetings, so
Okay,
I haven't much to say.
that's fine. Anything else? I guess we probably could use a motion to approve, perhaps individually, given that some of our members are have joined since the first meeting of the two. So
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of March 24th.
thank you, Jennifer. And a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. All in favor? I'm going to call for everyone. If you weren't present, you can just abstain. So Barbara, you were not present.
No, I was not.
Okay. To abstain. Eleanor?
Yes.
Jennifer?
Yes.
And Drew?
Yes.
Okay. Those minutes are approved. Then we're on to the April 7th, 2026 minutes. We need a motion to approve that. I think we were all present for that one.
I make a motion that we accept the minutes for April 7th, 2026.
And a second, please.
I'll second.
Thank you. All in favor? Barbara?
Yes.
Eleanor?
Yep.
Jennifer?
Yes.
And Drew?
Yes.
Thanks. Okay. Takes care of the minute that we have to deal with. We have one DEP file, and that is DEP 313652, Pack Self-Storage of Wakefield, care of Chris Capizzoli at 50 Quantapallet Parkway. It's a continued public hearing on the notice of intent for construction of a 5-story self-storage facility with parking and other items. Brian, are you speaking to that tonight?
I am, Mr. Chair.
Okay, then I think it's floor is yours.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. For the record, Attorney Brian McGrail on behalf of Pack Self Storage. With me tonight is Eric Brandonese from Engineering Alliance, and also Chris Capizzoli is here, who's the principal of Pack Self Storage. I don't think that either one of them will provide any testimony or comment unless needed. I think I can be somewhat brief and efficient this evening. I think I'll start probably, if it's okay, Mr. Chair, a little bit of background, because it's been a bit since we've been here. As you're aware, this application is related to the self-storage facility proposed for 50 Quantapallet Parkway. We were last before you at your meeting on February 17th, 2026. And at that time, we presented the project design and layout to the commission, which the commission was fully satisfied with. And I'll give you some reminders on that as I proceed tonight. Since this is a renotice public hearing, because Ethan did a renotice and a republication, I think it might be beneficial to provide a little bit of a recap of that project design and layout that has been agreed to with the commission to date. The project involves a 4-story, approximately 99,000 square foot self-storage facility at the property. It was originally designed to be a 5-story building of approximately 125,000 square feet, but it has been reduced to approximately 99,000 square feet and 4 stories. So it's been reduced in mass, volume, and height and stories. Is it okay if I share my plan?
Sure. I think it would be helpful.
Thank you. So these are the plans that we recently submitted to the commission. They really do not differ at all from what was presented to the commission from a layout and design perspective at the meeting back in February. And, so I just kind of want to go through from a design and layout, what we've presented and what has been agreed to with the commission to date. The first thing is you'll recall that we've delineated the wetland line. Let me try to blow this up a little bit. There we go. The wetland line has been delineated. If you recall, we retained Art Allen from Ecotech, and he's delineated that wetlands line going all along the property. So we've all agreed to that. That is nothing new. One of the things is originally there's a pinch point that was referred to by the commission in this area of the pavement. And originally before Art's delineation, it was only about 3 feet away from that. And the commission did not like that. Art's delineation actually brought that line even closer. So our original layout would have been right on the wetlands line. The commission asked us to get 8 feet away from that wetland. We've gotten 8 feet, 6 foot separation from that wetland line. As part of this plan, we've agreed to that there's going to be restoration of the wetland area in the back of the property. This was presented to the commission at the meeting in February, just as a reminder. This is the restoration area. The plantings were specifically recommended by Art Allen and our landscape architect, Jim Emanuel. We talked about that to ensure the ecological appropriateness and enhancement of the wetland resource area. At your meeting on the 17th, the commission liked these 23 plantings, and in particular, you were fond of the red maple and the 12 red maple and black gum trees that would be incorporated into this area. As you may recall, this plan also designates a significant portion of the site to be kept in open space in perpetuity with a public pathway. This landscaping is in addition to what is being provided out back. And we went over this. There's detailed landscaping plans and specifications of the plantings and shrubs and trees that are proposed in this location as well. The other thing that we talked about back in February was that we recognize that there's significant invasive species on the site. In particular, there's Phragmites on the site, and also glossy buckthorn, and perhaps additional invasive species. And we've agreed with the commission that as part of our eventual order, those will be addressed with an invasive species remediation plan with the commission. So that's just kind of a reminder and a highlight, especially for some of the newer members on what's transpiring here, what we've been through to date. As we had stated in your February 17th meeting, that really the only outstanding matter is the updated stormwater management report or drainage calculations for the project. The updated stormwater management report prepared by Engineering Alliance has been submitted to both your commission and to the Board of Appeals, and has been reviewed by the town engineer. So since the submittal, we have received a memorandum from the town engineering division regarding their review of the updated stormwater management report. outlining questions, comments, and potential modifications that they would like to see. Today, we also received correspondence from our neighbors, R.J. Kelly at 100 Corner Parkway, raising additional questions and concerns that they have with the stormwater report. Given the timing and detailed content, we have not had sufficient opportunity to fully review either of those correspondence. However, we intend to provide a comprehensive response to both as soon as possible and hopefully before your first meeting in June. I know you meet a week from now, and certainly that won't be enough time to provide a response memo. So in addition to all of that, we continue our hearing process before the Zoning Board of Appeals as part of the broader permitting process for the project. They're reviewing numerous aspects of the project as it relates to such things as architecture, components, and the like, traffic, etc. And they also have review of drainage that is done in conjunction with the town engineer as well. So we will keep you informed as we progress with them. We will be back before them again shortly, and we need to make sure that the plans stay in sync. So in summary, the wetland line has been confirmed and agreed upon. The project has shifted to provide the 8.5-foot separation as was requested by the commission and agreed upon. Native plantings have been incorporated based on expert recommendations, and they've been agreed upon, with the open space area agreed upon. We are prepared to collaborate on the invasive species and remediation program. We'll start working on that with our experts for submittal to the commission for your review and comment. Certainly, there would be conditions in an O&M plan that are still open items and would need to be resolved as we move forward. And as I've mentioned, we're ongoing with the Board of Appeals. And lastly, the updated stormwater management report is now under review with comments provided to us and responses anticipated and perhaps some modifications to follow. So that's where we are, Mr. Chair, and we're certainly not looking to move this to your meeting a week from now because we would not be ready for responses on stormwater as we just received them recently and as most recent as today. So we would be looking to, at the end of this, continue it to whatever your first meeting in June might be. Happy to answer any questions.
So you'll address the comments that we saw in an email today, and that I believe you received at the same time from your abutters at our meeting in June.
Correct.
Okay. And looking at that, first meeting in June is the 2nd of June. So,
That would be great.
okay. And I would say I'll open up the floor to questions from my colleagues on the commission, if they have any tonight.
I have one other thing, Mr. Chair. I thought it might be, it's obviously not jurisdictional for the board, but I'm all about, sharing information and perhaps you'd like to see the latest architectural rendering that we've worked through with the Zoning Board of Appeals.
Probably be helpful for us to understand what we're seeing.
Yeah, what is actually going to be built there. So this is the rendering of the facility. This is a reduced size and height, floors, and massing. And as you can see, as was promised at the beginning of this process and held to our promise by the Board of Appeals, you are not going to know this is a self-storage facility.
And this is in response to comments from the ZBA, I presume.
Correct.
Okay.
This is the latest version.
Right.
I have a question, Brian. So is the invasive species management plan, is that going to be part of the materials that we receive for the June 2nd meeting?
I can try to do that. Yeah, I'd like to do that, Jennifer. Yeah, that's a good point. I'd
I
like to
think
move
that would be
along.
helpful. And I think
Yeah.
two things with respect to that plan. I think it's both a matter of the management plan initially, and then the question of how you'll handle invasive management on a going forward on O&M basis too, because clearly invasive species management is not a one and done kind of matter, unfortunately. So that would be helpful to see that. I think Jennifer's right.
I agree.
Okay. So we'll look for that as part of a package, in addition to responding to the comments that we've received, and any comments coming from that you did receive commentary from our engineering division then on,
Yes,
okay. Okay.
I think you did too. I think.
Don't know whether that I've seen it yet. It could have gone to the commission mailbox, in which case it's probably still there because I haven't had a chance to open it. Okay.
I would just say on the invasive species, Brian, if you have a consultant that can, sort of outline targeted treatment, that's more manual in nature, because what we're seeing over and over again is around town when invasive species is done, sometimes, there's an effort to remove a target species, but a worse species gets introduced like knotweed. And
Mhm.
that's because of the introduction of equipment and things like that. So, sometimes less is more, um, you know, um, and there's actually a good mix of natural vegetation there that exists. So I would hate to see a sort of clear, losing shrubs and somebody coming in and saying, "Oh, we'll just replace it with New England wildflower mix," because it changes the habitat.
Okay. So manual in nature
Yeah,
and
And targeted to
targeted
the invasives
to
that
the,
have been identified.
targeted treatment. Yep.
yep.
Okay.
And then I had a second question, and it's I'm not sure how related it is, but given that the 95 widening is going to be happening, is that going to impact 50 Quannapowitt and 200 Quannapowitt or no?
No, it doesn't come that far down.
Okay.
I actually went to the meeting with the state.
Okay, good.
It stops at about Parker Road.
Okay.
And one more comment, Brian, if you're, did you say it's Art who's doing the invasive species
I'm going to talk
management?
to Art and hopefully he can do it. If not, somebody in this firm will be able to do it.
Yeah, okay. And so Phil is one way that knotweed comes in. So if they can address that, I think that question will come up. So
Yeah, I'm going to reference to them the concern over knotweed.
It's become a serious and increasingly, maybe not omnipresent, but certainly over much too large an area. And once it's there, eradication is a very long and arduous process.
And Phragmites is also transported through
Yeah.
equipment. So that's why we might, like, if we see, if in the opinion of the expert, the Phragmites is contained to a small area and the risk is bigger by trying, you know what I mean? I think we just need to understand that a little bit better. Like we may be,
Well, yeah. I mean, what I'm hearing is you want to hear about it because maybe you don't want to potentially don't do anything there. But it's certainly up to you.
Hmm.
Why don't we have him kind of report
Okay,
on what he sees there and what his thoughts are, and then you can evaluate.
that would be perfect. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Might be useful for him to join us for a meeting when we discuss that.
Great.
Yep.
Okay. Anything else from anybody else on the commission? Ethan, any comments, concerns, questions here? Okay. All right. Then I think we will see you next on this issue, Brian, on June 2nd. We'll continue it till then.
Thank you.
Thank you for your time tonight.
Thank you.
Our next matter is reorganization. We need to elect a chair and a vice chair. Currently, I'm the chair and Eleanor is the vice chair. I guess first question is, does anyone else want the jobs?
It,
Yeah.
Paul, it's interesting because if you look at the Conservation Commission, um, like the MAC Conservation Commission organizing guide, it
Yeah,
talks about how it's important to rotate the positions
right.
annually, and also because the chair position is so, like, it's just too much for one person to do. And so they really, the other way commissions across Massachusetts work is, chair and co-chair are pretty much like, I don't want to say equals, but a division of responsibilities, and then other people on the commission having sort of key roles, whether it's, website or outreach or, being like the invasive expert. It's just, it's impossible for one person to,
And I think we have done a lot of that, but I have
yeah.
no objection if someone else wants, if we want to move the chair position along to someone else, and reorganize on that basis. It's fine with me.
Jennifer, I had a question. You were referring to these other commissions. How many members are on those commissions on an average? I know we're kind of small. Well, you've been very small. And now we're five, but again, I don't think you want me to be the chair, nor do you want me to be the vice chair at this point. So I'm just curious how many were on those commissions, how many members where they could have all those assignments.
Oh, I think you're directing it to me.
Yes, Eleanor.
Eleanor. Okay. Um, I think typically other commissions have 7 full-time members and then 2 alternates, I guess. Or Paul, what did we call them? We haven't had them in a while.
Associate members.
Associate members. Yeah.
But when I joined the commission, actually, initially, I was an associate member. And
Did that mean you had a vote or you didn't have?
no, I did not have a vote.
Right.
I was basically an observer.
Yeah. It's like you're a commissioner in training.
Right. And I could ask questions, although at that point I didn't know enough to ask many. But that's about as far as this commission has gone. And at this point, we don't have the volunteers interested in
Yeah.
participating, or at least I haven't heard of them, to add 2 more members, much less any associate members.
Mhm.
We get that, it'd be great. But at the moment, we're rather constrained. So I think it's really a question of we want to move the chair position around. That's fine. I hear you, Barbara. I think it probably would be appropriate for either Eleanor or Jennifer to take the chair position next, and then continue to move the rotation on an annual basis.
So, kind of in terms of how long people have been on the commission, Paul, I think 4+ years now.
Yeah, I
and,
believe my appointment was in 2022, so
Yeah,
early
Eleanor in
22.
her,
So
yeah, in her 3rd year. I'm at the beginning of my 2nd year, so that's kind of how it goes. And I wouldn't be opposed at some point to, like, being in, say, the vice chair role, but I think you two are the most, you know, have been on the commission the longest and certainly, spent a lot of time on the matters. And I do see a benefit to, um, my impression anyway is, Paul, you have more availability during the day, for example, than I do,
yeah,
to be kind of available during
the
business
advantage of
hours.
retirement, Jennifer.
Mhm.
Yeah. So that's a consideration. So that,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, I understand
Yeah.
your,
I know, I think Bob and Jimmy Luciani used to just switch
well,
you know what I mean?
actually, Jimmy was always the chair.
Hmm.
Bob used to run the meetings.
Oh.
Bob Romano was vice chair, but he ran the meetings. And Jimmy was officially the chair, and that had been the case. Well, certainly that was the case for the time I was on the commission, both as an associate member and then once I was appointed in 22.
Hmm.
Rob only meetings during COVID.
Sorry, Judy, I couldn't understand that.
Rob only meetings during COVID.
Oh,
He was more computer savvy.
ah,
Ah, okay.
He
yeah,
ran the background stuff and Jim did the rest.
right. Yeah, yeah. Jim was not exceptionally computer savvy. That's absolutely true.
Hmm.
Um, so, but it worked. So, as I said, Eleanor, do you want to be chair next year?
I- You know, I'm happy to take a stab at it. Like but I know because I work full time, I think it would have to, I would have to divide responsibilities with you or someone. Do you know what
Hmm.
I mean? Um,
Well, we'd have to be very clear about that division then, because
yeah,
it will get complicated if we don't.
right.
Uh,
Um, but in general, I think do we have to take this vote today? Or can we, Judy, I'm curious.
I have no idea. Judy, can you tell us?
No, it doesn't have to be today, but it shouldn't be too, you could have this
Yeah,
in
Okay,
the near future.
all
because
right.
because maybe you and I could talk offline, and
Yeah,
just
that's
figure
true.
out
You
like
and I
what
can
make
actually talk offline without convening a meeting. So let's do that sometime later on in the week.
and see what makes sense, and
Right,
then we can come back to the group with a
with a proposal.
proposal.
Okay, that's fine with me.
Okay.
So for tonight, I'll remain in the chair position and we'll discuss it further soon. Okay. And the next item is trail steward. We have a new applicant and we need to vote on the appointment. So I haven't seen that application, so I'll let Ethan, can you speak to that?
Yep, I think I sent that around last week. We actually got it a few weeks ago, but we hadn't had a meeting since then.
Ah,
We just had a new resident looking to join the Trail Steward
oh, I
program.
did see,
That would be
yes,
for the JJ Round Trails Forest.
right.
Yeah.
And that person's name?
It is Anissa Coney.
Okay.
Doesn't an applicant have to go through an interview with you, or how does that work?
No, we're pretty much open to anyone. It is a newer program. There's not too many members looking to join, unfortunately. So I spoke with them just to give them some more background on what they would do as a trail steward. So it's pretty much just being assigned to a trail, walking it once a month, noting anything substantial to us, if there's any large debris, is anything obstructing the path. It's more of a volunteer monitoring position. So
They don't do the actual physical maintenance of the trail, though.
no, we ask that they don't do anything to the trail, just report it to us, and then we can take care of it from there.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Have you been getting monitoring reports from trail stewards or
I do
regular
have one.
reports?
I have one steward that is pretty active. They don't usually provide monitoring reports that often because there's not much to report on.
Mhm.
But every few months I'll check in and have a chat with them just to make sure they're still on board and see if there's anything they need from me.
And which trail does that steward monitor?
The town forest.
Town forest, okay. And this new person is interested in the JJ Round Trail?
Yep.
Okay.
It sounds like someone that would have been using the trails anyways, so it's more of
Mhm.
just
formalizing their
Someone to-
relationship with the trails in a way that they can actually come back to us and say, hey, this needs to be done.
Yep.
Or this area of the trail is being blocked by a tree that's fallen down. And I presume town forestry people or whatever would be the people responsible for maintenance.
Yep. Yeah, it's usually whoever manages the parks or the land that it's on.
Okay.
Yeah, the liability would be too great for local citizens.
Yeah, we do not want volunteers trying to cut up trees with chainsaws.
Mhm.
Not a that's a rather high risk
Yeah,
volunteer.
some towns allow them to do maintenance like trimming and clearing a path, but we haven't done that so far.
I think if we were going to do that, we'd probably need to have some training by someone who was actually capable of doing that kind of work and also could help them identify the kinds of things that would need trimming. I mean,
Mhm.
Yeah,
same as for
you'll see
invasive
that.
managements, because we don't want things taken out that aren't needed to be taken out. And on the other hand, we do want invasives to be identified and managed.
There
Yeah.
are people that do that, that manage on, on a volunteer basis and
Mhm.
put groups together, and it's very targeted and no chemicals. And
Well, I think there's some folks from FOLQ who do that around the lake, no?
yes, and actually, Christine Ryu
Right.
proposed, I don't know if that came through today, um, proposed doing like um, garlic mustard pulling session on some, and it's not just on, I would say, roadsides and stuff to kind of assist the DPW with maintaining some of the open space. And Dennis Fazio was on board with that. Um, and so she would help, and you just get a bunch of volunteers that go after one area, sort of pulling one species at the right time of year. And I think she's looking to do that towards the end of May,
Okay.
but I'll get more details.
She's doing that through under the auspices of Dennis Fazio's.
Yeah, she would like us to sign on, endorse
Okay.
it.
Okay.
Um, but anyway, it's a win-win, and it gets
Yeah.
citizens involved and engaged. Um,
All right. And it is the time to get garlic mustard since it's blooming and visible right
yeah.
now.
Yeah, before it goes to seed.
Yeah, before it goes to seed and sort of falls off our radar because we can't identify it quite so readily.
Yep.
I
Yeah, I
have
think it's great to have boots on the ground, in a trail steward program. I think that's phenomenal.
Yeah, so I would agree.
I have seen signs from the Wakefield tree warden at JJ Round, I think last year, about cutting, of trees. So I think the tree warden is out there sometimes, looking into that. Um, and I think my recollection is that at least one of the maps is not, I'm not sure if it's really accurate out there. So just things that could be improved. If they're out there regularly, they probably know exactly what that is.
Mhm.
But the trail steward probably would not have the responsibility for the tree
No,
No,
trimming, believe. Okay.
no.
I mean, something that volunteers have asked me, or people who potentially want to volunteer, is if they can lead, if they become a trail steward, can they lead, um, site walk, like not site walks, but trail walks? And is that an issue, or if they're doing it on town land, do they, or does the town need a liability policy?
I wouldn't be able to speak on the liability. It does sound like something they could do without being a steward, as long as they're
Yeah.
on public land and public trails. So
Mhm.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be able to speak on the liability part of it.
But anybody can walk the trails. You could lead a group down the trails to do a walk with,
Mhm.
being guided on types of plants they're seeing and that kind.
Mhm.
Yeah, I spoke to someone last year that does that, I think, in the town forest or various trails around the area, including the town forest.
Mhm.
I think that's Linda Ireland. Is that who you're thinking of?
I think so, yeah.
It's very good. Should we make a
Oh,
motion to?
Go ahead. Yeah.
I have to pull up her. I, I read her thing, but I don't have it up in front of me. Hang on a second. I will make a motion to approve this trail steward nomination for JJ Round Trail.
Okay.
I second.
Thanks. So it's moved by Eleanor and seconded by Drew. All in favor. Barbara,
Yes.
Eleanor,
Yes.
Jennifer,
Yes.
Drew,
Yes.
and I vote yes. So we have a new trail steward for the JJ Round Trail now. Ethan, you'll be in communication with
Yep.
them. Okay, great. Excellent. Our next matter is site visit updates.
Yeah, I was just looking to hear any updates from those 2 site visits you did the other Saturday. I see Brian here as well. If there's anything, just hearing if there's any next steps for us to take or anything that you learned at the site visits that we should talk about. The Cataldo ambulance as well as 129 Oak Street.
At Cataldo, we were looking at their, we were having an initial discussion about their plans for invasives removal. And I believe, Brian, we agreed that they will be engaging someone to come in to identify and do invasive removal. They'll come to us for a presentation before they actually move forward on that. Am I correct?
Correct. Yeah, we're in the process of trying to engage somebody to do that. Yes.
Okay. And
129 Oak.
right. Can you fill us in on
Yeah,
that?
so what we agreed on that is we're gonna get some survey work done there. Everybody kind of wanted to know where the property lines were. And then once we figure that out, that Aaron Kakinda, myself, Ethan, you're now part of this, I think, and the town engineer would get together and talk about what might be appropriate to come back and for remediation and present to the commission.
Right.
Okay.
Since it is a town-owned property.
Part of it. We just didn't know really where the property lines were back there.
Right,
And encroachment of the fence, and so everybody kind of wanted to get an idea of what's going on back there.
Can we have Elaine involved in that discussion?
Yes.
Okay.
I have a question. Would that include the invasive species we identified when we were on that site?
I mean, that I don't think so. I mean, anything's open for discussion, but I think the survey is going to show more of that's on town land, and I'm wondering if that actually got brought in from the sidewalk work that was done. If you talk about the transport of the knotweed.
Right.
Because that was never noticed there before, and now all of a sudden it's coming up right in that area where all that disturbance was done.
I think it goes back to talking about the fill,
Yeah.
when
Yeah.
that gets brought in, it just, you know,
That's the problem. I mean, an awful lot of fill is contaminated with little bits of invasives, and particularly with knotweed, takes next to nothing to start it.
I mean, I think anything's open for discussion there. I mean, if there's the commission thinks that there's more benefit in dealing with that than some restoration. I mean, that's a discussion we can have.
I think unrelated to sort of the 129 enforcement activity was that we did notice how the culverts were kind of, I don't know, or the outfall, I'm not sure what you call it quite, but was completely hidden by sort of the sloping of the my Paul, help me out with the engineering terms, but the work that had been done by the town to create the sidewalk seemed to have shifted the
The drainage from the site.
The flow
the
from across
flow and the
street.
rocks and kind of covered that up. And so I think that's something the town needs to address or investigate and have whoever did the work. I, I don't know if Bill has seen that yet, but Ethan, I think.
I think when we get the survey, we're all gonna go down there, the
Okay.
group, and kind of put a plan together on how to, recommendation to the commission on how to deal with everything.
Okay.
Who's taking care of the survey?
I think Paul Finocchio is gonna do it.
Okay,
He's quick and reasonable, and he's a good surveyor.
right. And we've seen his work before. All right. Anything more on site visits?
No, it sounds like a good next step. So we'll wait for the survey and then we'll be in touch after that.
Okay,
And I think the other site visit issue on this item is to set up a site visit for 200, 400 Quantipow Parkway to meet with Goddard Environmental because they want to start the invasive species work coming up in the next week or so. And the commission wanted to, we promised the commission that we would do a visit with them to describe what they're going to do and make sure everybody's in sync before anything is touched.
Yes, I have that starting on May 20th. So I think sometime next Monday or Tuesday, that'd be the 18th or the 19th, would work best for everyone.
So we couldn't do the Monday, and most of us work on Tuesdays.
So Goddard said,
We were looking at this past Monday, but I think Goddard wasn't available that
yeah,
day.
Goddard's not, they said they're available Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday, anytime afternoon.
Is that this week or next week, Brian?
Next week.
Okay.
Could do
And
late
Brian, they'll make
afternoon.
sure they don't do any work until the group goes out there, correct? But they want to start the 20th, you said, Ethan?
I believe the 20th, yeah.
Yeah, correct, Aaron.
That's
Sounds
the
good.
Wednesday. So it sounds like we've got essentially one day or whatever to do a site walk, like either on the 19th. The 18th, I can't make it.
The
Are we?
19th,
Mhm.
go ahead.
Sorry, the 19th is a Tuesday?
Yes.
Yeah. Technically, it's our next meeting. It's next
Oh,
Tuesday. And right now it's a scheduled meeting, although at the moment, Judy, do we have anything additional coming up?
But I-
Not at the moment that I've seen, no.
Okay,
Would Goddard be open to doing it after work hours, Brian?
I'm gonna tell them they have to, Aaron.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's it for both Eleanor and Jennifer, and I'm going to presume Drew.
Yeah.
All of three of our members can't come during the working day. It would either
Yeah.
have
Yeah,
weekend or evening, late afternoon, evening.
I'll just tell them they have to be available. And they used to go
Okay.
into night meetings, and right now it's 7:45 and we still have daylight.
Mhm.
So
Right. So we could
Right.
do something. Do something next week on Tuesday, and if there's anything that comes up as an agenda item, we could hold the meeting after that and maybe do the site walk. I'm going to suggest Eleanor, Jennifer, Drew, can you do 6:30?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
6:30 on Tuesday?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
that's great.
All right. 6:30 next Tuesday, the 19th. And then if we need to hold a business meeting for the commission afterwards, we will hold a meeting. So I guess we should notice it as such. If there's nothing on the agenda, then we would adjourn.
So you're going to hold the meeting in person?
This will be our first one.
But it wouldn't
Might
be
as
on
well.
it wouldn't be on site. So are you looking to go to town hall or just from a coordination standpoint? I'm just trying to.
Okay, yeah. Well, there is that.
Would you want to put 6 work for the group? That gives you about a half hour, 45 minutes, and then
Then get back to town hall to
we'd have to make sure the room's available because there might
get
be
the
other
room
meetings.
available. Otherwise, it wouldn't take longer than for any of us than 15 minutes to get to our homes, I'm sure.
Also, yeah, that's true. Yeah.
So we could all go home and do the same thing as we're doing right now if we needed to. It's really not. I mean, the virtual meetings like this have certainly been pretty effective as a means of doing what we need to do. Can
Those
we do it at 6, folks?
Yeah.
I could
Yep.
make that work.
Okay,
Yeah.
then let's plan for 6 p.m. And question of where do we meet?
Anybody been to the site besides Ethan? I drove by today and there's a lot going on. So I
Right.
wasn't sure where we should park because there's, you could park closer to where they're digging today, but who knows where they'll be a week from today. I don't know.
I'd
where we-
recommend near the restaurant where they're building. They have, I think, guest parking over there, and
Is that coming from the
Already
North Ave
paid?
from the
side?
North Ave side, yes.
Yeah.
correct.
Yeah. Yep.
So if you enter from the North Ave side, you can go to the parking that's available, that's already been built for the restaurant.
Yeah, there should be guests, right, Ethan? I think that's where we always park when we do site visits.
There's definitely guest parking somewhere.
Over there, yeah. I would recommend that because the other side is kind of closed. They're still doing construction, so
Yeah, we can confirm too, and then Ethan can let you know.
Okay, let's do that.
Yeah.
We'll plan for 6 p.m. May 19th at parking area adjacent to the site at 200,
Entering from North Ave.
entering from North Ave.
Yeah.
Right.
Just as an FYI, that's my 29th birthday, so I expect presents from all of you.
Oh my God. A
Obvious.
Taurus,
Yeah, yes, barely.
another Taurus.
Oh, you
Obviously
too?
kidding.
Yeah, me too.
Okay.
Mine's come and gone.
No.
So
Mine too.
Happy belated. Happy belated.
happy to you too. No wonder this board is so terrific. It's got all the Taurians on it.
3 of you. My goodness.
Sounds good. Sounds
Watch
good.
out.
So are you looking to have this posted as a public meeting, or is it just to view the site?
Something, Ethan, that's a great question because I had come across, I had thought site visits that involve a quorum of the commission are supposed to be publicly noticed.
Yeah, if there's any sort of discussion or deliberation whatsoever, it should definitely be noticed. I mean, it's possible to do a site visits without notice, but you'd really have to avoid.
No, I mean posted as a meeting because sometimes if it's like, for example, a site walk on public, on town land or something, those are technically open to the public. Have you looked in, have we been doing that historically?
They haven't posted publicly.
Sorry, Judy, you're breaking up.
Posted publicly for a public meeting.
They have not been posted
Yeah,
publicly. Is that what I
typically they're
heard
not
they do?
posted, but that's under the assumption that there's like no discussion taking place.
Right.
I mean,
I
any
mean-
discussion whatsoever will
And also
certainly.
in the past too, I feel like not the whole board went, so you didn't have to post. Is that correct, Judy? It would only be a few.
Yes.
Hmm.
Yeah, with 7 members, you could have up to 3 at a meeting without it being
Right.
quorum. So that was a little easier to avoid.
Yeah, I mean, if all 5 of us go next week on Tuesday, we have a quorum. We would have to avoid any substantive discussions. We could ask questions, we can note items that are on the site, but we can't make decisions.
Right. But I thought
That being a publicly noticed meeting.
I thought even if we're doing a site walk, can we confirm that
I
it
would
has-
recommend that you post it. You should be posting them if you're all going to be there.
That's how I interpreted
Simple
it too,
enough.
Erin.
In which case, we need to give the site owner notice that we're doing that so they can be prepared in case there are any members of the public that also decide they want to walk. Because if it's a public meeting,
Right.
members of the public would be able to join us.
Will all those condominiums empty out and we'll have a crowd of 100?
I wish there was that much
They
public
don't really
interest.
care.
Yeah, right. I wish.
I've
Brian,
already,
oh, go ahead.
I already planned on inviting some representatives of Friend of Lake Quantapowhat.
Oh,
Okay.
excellent.
All right.
I've already
And-
spoken with their president, and I want them to be able to be there.
Ethan, I guess, Ethan and Judy, I guess we'd ask you guys to post this as a noticed public meeting and be convening at that site. Just hoping it doesn't rain that evening.
The one
It
thing I'd
will.
want to look into is how
I'm
this
sure it
impacts
will, Brian, yes.
the number of meetings you guys are having.
Well, when we do a site visit, we're not deliberating. There's not, the clerk doesn't come to a site visit.
Right.
But it's
We've
still
never
a
had
public meeting where
Judy
you'll need.
We don't
president
do
on
minutes
meetings.
on site
Yes, sir.
visits.
No, we do not.
It's always something to look into, I think, definitely, because it involves the agenda, at least the agenda and the notice. So
Do you want to look up the state guidance on that?
yep, we'll look into that.
All right. And
then we also have
something
Tom
to us
Mullen.
as soon as you can. And I would say, yes, talk to Tom Mullen because,
Yes, we'll confirm with Tom Mullen.
all right.
And then, did Brian, is Brian still here or did he
Yes.
drop off?
No,
Oh,
I'm here.
Sure.
You had shown a map, I think the December meeting, sort of showing where I guess the property line was between 200 Quantapowhat and the town parcel.
Mhm.
And I think it was like a color-coded thing. Could we get a copy of that before the site walk?
Yeah, I actually sent it to Ethan. I think, Ethan, you
Yep.
have it.
I have that. I'll send it to you all.
Please.
Okay,
Thank you.
thanks. Because that was really helpful, the way you sort of explained it.
Yeah.
Okay. So we're agreed on a site walk / meeting at 200 Quantapowhat next Tuesday, the 19th at 6 p.m. And that's at the moment the sole agenda item for the meeting. Okay.
So we got an email from, I think Bill was from Ethan about something happening at 200 Quantapowhat affecting the wetlands. Is that something we should look at the site visit, or that's a different matter?
That would be a different matter. I think that's been taken care of in the meantime. Then they'll come back to us for some sort of permit or discussion when they're ready.
So how does that happen? How does a department within Wakefield not know that they, need to coordinate before doing that?
I'd recommend we wait and talk about this when it's in front of you guys, because it's not really
Okay.
posted right now. That would be my recommendation.
Okay. I guess something else when we do the site walk, I don't know if we can add it to another agenda. Ethan, like when I was walking the lake this weekend, I guess do you usually like in the past you used to notify us when you would do like a pre-site walk, like a pre-construction review? We're
Not
with
typically, no.
Jimmy. What's that?
I said not typically, no.
Well, you did in the past with Jimmy because I attended some.
Okay, then.
So, because what I'm wondering is like, are we going and before site construction starts looking that, the crew has delineated the wetland before they proceed working? Because what I noticed on the segment from North Avenue to Quantapowhat was there was work on the far side of the sidewalk. I mean, sorry, the far side of the lake, like that sidewalk was getting worked on, or that curb. And then the sidewalk work happened very recently, and it looks like they put in a 12-foot sidewalk that's very wide and, very, very close to the lake, like a lot closer than I recall the plans were. So I just want to make sure before these projects start that we're like walking in and kind of verifying, um, that the flags are in place, that it's clear how far the line of work is going to go.
Who's
Yeah,
doing
part of
the
what I
work
do
there?
in pre-construction meetings is just making sure the site's ready for work, making sure what we talked about is accurate, like the delineation. So I went to this one with the town engineer because that mostly involves his work.
Okay. You you guys, when you go to the lake, you might want, I don't know. I just was surprised that in some places it's like 2 feet from the lake. It's very, very close. And I just, um, don't, when you put that much asphalt close to a water body, it gets, like 40 degrees
Wasn't this
hotter than
approved by you guys?
it was. But sometimes what you're approving, Aaron, like it's a plan on a piece of paper, and that's why a lot of times other commissions, when there's a pre-construction review, you might appoint a commission member or two to kind of accompany on certain projects, just to, so they're comfortable to see, because sometimes what you approve on paper is not what the contractor winds up doing. So maybe you say, oh, we're gonna, you know, keep it 5 feet from the wetland. Well, then it's 2 feet. I don't know. Like I'm relatively new to this, and talking to other people from other towns, um, who are conservation focused. So anyway,
And as far as the work that they're doing, that's something that would more come through with the certificate of compliance. Um, but usually the delineation is remaining the same from when the permit's approved. So if they are moving closer to the wetland, unless and until there's a violation, that'll come to us with the certificate of compliance request.
Have you been monitoring their
yeah,
work out there?
like
Yep.
like are you documenting your pre-construction review to say, yep, they put in wetland flags, um, they put erosion controls, it was clear how far it was going to go, where the limit of work would be?
Yep, usually with the pre-construction meetings, I'm looking at the erosion controls and the DEP signage, as well as making sure the applicant understands that if there's any special conditions they need to know about, and just reviewing the permit together, reviewing the plans with them, make sure they understand what they can and can't do. So,
But this was like the town project, right?
the sidewalks.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
But I mean, do you document, like, I'm just curious about the process. Like, do you document and for your files, like, yep, they put up erosion, here's a picture of the erosion controls and flags.
I won't always take pictures, but from when they invite me to when I confirm that they're good to begin work, it's all usually done on email. So
And I think this is how it's always been done. So unless you guys want something different, I think at this point maybe we'll work on something different. But I think this is, I hate to use that, this is how it's always been done, but
Point of order. I, I'm sorry, Aaron, it is point of order through the chair. Chair, can we call on people?
Okay. We can move to that. Go ahead, Eleanor.
Uh, You know, we're all, this is a commission. We've been appointed. We're all new. We're all learning. We've been appointed by the town council members to enforce the Wetlands Protection Act, and Ethan is here to assist us in that effort. But ultimately, as I understand it, the conservation volunteers direct how we want to do things, and it's important for us to understand how things are done in town and make sure we're employing best practices. And certainly, I recognize you're new and Ethan's new, but I can tell you I've been following the commission activity for years as a, resident reaching out to the agents at the time with questions or concerns and seeing the way things were done. I also have the chairman's manual, so I've seen the documentation that used to be done. So, um, I recognize that again, because we lost so much institutional knowledge, this wasn't documented, and we have to do a better job of just, we have the opportunity to establish how we want to do things. Um, but yeah, and I that's it.
So you'd like to see better documentation of processes and procedures. Essentially, we need some kind of summary and report on pre-construction meetings when Ethan attends them, I think.
Right. I mean, that is laid out in the enforcement manual. It's very short, and Aaron, you should get a copy of it, but it literally lays out like the whole point is you do preventative, you walk, you look at things, you document them. You don't just like it's a lot of the times it's not town employees who are doing the work, it's subcontracted out, and sometimes it just does not go according to plan. So it is important to have, a regular sort of protocol, and that's all I'm suggesting.
And I think it would make sense for that to be part of the protocol, both with town activities, but also with private activities, the same kind of documentation.
Yep.
Aaron, you have your hand up.
Eleanor, I'm sorry if I came off rude, if that's how you thought it could be. That's the point I was just getting to, and that's where you came in. The point of order, it was what I was going to say is, yes, I will be the first to admit I don't know all the rules, the regs, the enforcement orders. What I'm here to do is support Ethan. And from my understanding, and that's what I was trying to figure out, that clearly right now what you're getting is not what you'd like to see. So I think what I'm trying to understand to support Ethan is if you could, what Paul was just saying, lay out the policy procedures, exactly what you guys need to see from these pre-work things instead of making assumptions. I mean, maybe he does have this stuff, then I think that would make everyone a little happier. So we're all rowing in the same direction. That's what I was saying.
And Aaron, I'd like um um I'm not attacking it, like just trying to understand what we're doing. Um, and that's fine. I think what would make sense, and I really appreciate that you came on the site walk with us because I think that was a good learning opportunity for all of us. But I think if we start with just the enforcement manual and see the things that they recommend that we do, that would be a really good starting point, and we can call those out. Um, and certainly, yeah, open to your suggestions. But I'm not trying to make you feel defensive or anything like that. But I would like the opportunity to finish my thoughts without being cut off. That's it.
Yeah, I think, like I said, I think we're all trying to row in the same direction. I don't want to make assumptions that Ethan's not doing certain things without talking to him. So I think that's where I was coming from. So I think if we can all get on the same page, I think we'll be good. So thank you. That's all I have to say about it.
Okay. Eleanor, do you have something that you can point to in the enforcement manual that you might want to circulate to the entire commission as well as to Ethan?
Yeah, I've circulated it before. I'll circulate it. It's pretty short. I think it's
That's
like,
fine.
um,
If you can
but it's
extract the
excellent.
date. Okay,
Yeah, because the whole point is to kind of prevent issues from occurring,
exactly. I mean,
and then educate, educate,
understanding
educate.
that can occur.
Yeah,
Okay,
so I'll do that.
thank you.
Paul, I had another site visit related matter.
Okay,
Um, the commission received an email several weeks ago from someone who walks frequently in the Reedy Meadow area. I think the whole commission got it. It was a report of a lot of litter, trash, large electronics around the kind of the banks, within the area of bordering Reedy Meadow, particularly around the entrance for at 95 Audubon Road. I did go out there to look at that area myself. I mean, it's very heavily littered. I replied to that person, um, who wanted to report this anonymously. And they sent me an update that the area is still very littered, um, including now landscaping debris being dumped in the area, continuing to have large electronics out there dumped. Um, so yeah, I'm wondering what is the, commission's kind of capacity to respond to that?
Who controls Reedy Meadow? Who owns it?
I thought it
Well,
was,
I mean, this report, what was reported was primarily around 95 Audubon Road, which is Colonial Points
Yep.
Apartments.
is that,
Because net 95 is the Colonial Point area.
You said that is Colonial Points.
Yes,
Yeah,
I believe
95
so, yeah.
Audubon. Yeah.
So does that mean that 95 Audubon should be the ones cleaning up this debris, and also if they're the ones dumping the yard waste or maintenance debris, should they be the ones, should we be issuing an enforcement order against them with specific tasks? Ethan, have you visited this site?
That is a good question though, because a lot of times, I mean, the question is, are they responsible for this even though they didn't cause it? I mean, if it's something in a wetlands, then it tends to be on them. So
If it's on their property in a
Yeah.
wetland, seems to me that they'd be responsible for dealing with it.
yeah, usually we like to sort of clean it up, but also prevent it from happening. But when it's caused by someone else, I think it can be difficult to prevent it from happening further. So you can always start by reaching out to them, asking
Okay,
them to clean it up. Maybe even installing a sign noting the wetland area and see if that works.
I would say that would make a lot of sense. Is that something you can take and do
Sure.
relatively straightforwardly? Okay.
wait, wasn't this the same matter where we got, well, slightly different, somebody else had reported um,
The first,
Colonial Point?
yeah, the first report was like probably 4 to 6 weeks ago.
That was filling around Colonial Point, as I remember.
No, it was somebody just who was a resident
Oh yes,
who
I had heard
Right.
from that. It
But
must have been the previous one, but I think I'd
no, it's
contacted the
it's yeah, the same one,
um,
I think.
property manager once or twice. Seems like sounds like it had been cleaned up, but then more had been dumped.
Mm.
So
Um,
I've been in contact with them, so I can at least follow up with them.
yeah, I mean their impression is that it wasn't cleaned up and yeah, it's not being that's anyway, that their reply to me is that it hasn't been cleaned up.
Hmm.
And I also wanted to bring up another enforcement related matter came up between the last meeting and this meeting, and I wanted to raise it as something perhaps to put on next meeting's agenda, which is further work being done at 30 Strathmore that didn't come before the commission.
Sure, we can I can reach out to the homeowners and see if they want to attend the next meeting to discuss with us.
I think that would be helpful. I think it's important that we understand just what they would propose, and perhaps they need to file something with us since they are operating in, or they may well be operating in buffer area to a wetland.
Yep, so I've asked them to refrain from doing any further work so we can discuss in the meantime.
Okay.
So is that going to be next Tuesday or the following meeting?
Well, if next Tuesday is a meeting in the field, I think we're going to have to move it to the following,
Okay.
which would be the first meeting in June.
It does seem like their work seems imminent and I think involves a lot of what looks like kind of a large amount of unsecured fill. So it seems a little kind of risky to
To allow it to wait that long?
wait. Yeah.
Okay.
I did wonder as far as, and I think that involves, I think that was last, for Barbara and Drew, that was last on our agenda, February 17th. So there's some kind of background to that. Um, a question I had, do the homeowners have a copy of the delineation that the 2007 commission, the homeowners at the time, the wetland scientist and the civil engineer agreed upon that shows the hydric soil line? Do they have a copy of that and the 2007 commission's denial letter, which is, I think, very thorough in explaining kind of the situation and what the 2007 commission observed and concluded?
Yes, they have both of those.
Okay.
I think we did receive guidance from the circuit rider that in general, um, you know, it, anything that's not routine landscape maintenance, existing like lawn area requires a permit and a wetlands delineation. So I think by definition, fill regrading on any project, unless we can, one can demonstrate it's de minimis, but that's it's incumbent on the homeowner to demonstrate that there will be no adverse impacts.
Yeah, it sounds like what we can talk about at the next meeting, understanding what work they're doing and how we all view it. So
Okay.
I think they should be prepared to discuss it and also what their plans are to minimize impacts. Because otherwise, I mean, we have already issued an enforcement order on that property.
Right. Right. But none of the regrading work was
It was
discussed.
contemplated at that point. The only
Yeah.
thing was tree removals at that point. And in fact, you're right, the denial in 07 was particularly around proposed regrading in order to build a new structure on the property.
I think anytime a homeowner is regrading on any project, we typically get, um, a plan with contours.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if there's bill requirements. This would be a question for Bill. It's something the homeowner wants to think about. Typically, their requirements to, if you're bringing in fill in a buffer area, that it's like for like. I don't know what the town has done in the past. And then I would also recommend, just in general, on these projects that may be close to town infrastructure, making sure that Bill is taking a look at it.
What do you mean by like for like, though,
Like, let's say you have a certain soil type
Hmm.
that typically I came
Any
across,
fill being brought in should be the same kind of soil type to be.
yes,
All right.
I stumbled across that because it's kind of part of your like drainage assumptions and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, a lot of native plants that are used to acidic soil, and then all of a sudden now they have super alkaline,
Hmm.
non-hard compacted. Makes sense.
okay, I'll get in touch with the homeowners invite them to the meeting on June 2nd and have them prepared to answer these questions.
Okay.
And Ethan, just so you know, since they live on like in my neighborhood, I wouldn't feel comfortable voting on something like this, but I do, want to make sure we're, we're following the process and that they're, aware of risks and what can be done to sort of advance their interests in the long
At the
term
same
too.
time, maintaining our interests.
Our interests, yes.
Okay. So we'll expect to have a further conversation on this on June 2nd.
Excellent.
Anything else on site visits? The next matter is to set a site visit for 465 Water.
Yes, that was Keith's trees. That one got rescheduled.
And I'm
Planned
here,
to be
I'm here
on
to do
the
that,
other
Mr.
two.
Chair.
Okay.
I'm sorry, Brian?
I'm here to do that too.
Okay. Is your client ready for a site visit at this point to happen?
Yes,
Okay.
it just can't be a Memorial Day weekend. I
Okay.
already had a Labor Day site visit with you folks, so I can't do one on Memorial Day. I'll be in Middlesex Probate and Divorce Court.
I hear you.
Tempting.
Um,
I was hoping for sometime mid-June, like the 13th, or it could be after work, whatever works for the commission, either after work or on a Saturday, but not before June 13th on a Saturday.
okay.
But it could be at night too, whatever works for you folks, we can make that work.
I'll ask my employed colleagues since their schedules are probably more challenging to accommodate. So would you prefer a Saturday walk on June 13th or something something after work?
I'd be more sure I could attend on the 13th. If it's after work, for me, it just depends on the day
Okay.
and time.
I could definitely do the 13th anytime.
Well, then maybe we do a June 13th sidewalk. Take Brian up on his suggestion.
That'd be
If that's
great.
not problematic.
9 o'clock like we did before?
It's fine with me.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
Thank you.
So we're scheduled for June 13th, 9 a.m.
Thank you.
Thanks, Brian. All right. I think we've exhausted the sidewalks. Agendas and meeting materials. Discuss our policy on that. I think Ethan, that's something you put on there.
Yes, this is sort of what you and I talked about last week,
Right.
setting some deadlines for the agendas. That way we can just post
Yeah.
things more consistently. So
Yeah. At the moment, the prior commission's policy was that materials had to be submitted by the Thursday before the commission meeting, so they could be posted and distributed to the commission in time for people to have an opportunity to review them. Is that sufficient time? Or should we be pushing that a little further forward in time? I think Ethan and I discussed the possibility of making it the Tuesday, essentially a week before our meetings.
well, I think what I mentioned with the Tuesday was not for the applicants, but like for you as the chair, just confirming the agenda. So that way Judy and I can post it. That's more of what we were referring to.
That's all you were looking for was
Like what day to confirm the agenda and then confirm the materials, and then we'll post it a certain day, just so we have, we know what to expect and we can post it on our end more consistently.
so we maintain the Thursday before for applicants providing materials on their agenda items, but we would confirm agendas on the Tuesday before the meeting. So essentially, we confirm today what next Tuesday's agenda would be.
The agenda would remain open until that Thursday deadline. Same with the materials. It was more for us when we send you the draft. You can confirm it on the Tuesday, and then we could put
It's
together the
open until
material.
Thursday, though, so we could be adding matters as late as Thursday,
Yes,
because that
it's
meets
more
the
for
notice
us.
requirements of 48 hours of business time.
Yep. Yeah, it's for us posting the agenda, posting the materials. If you want to be involved in the agenda and materials, just allowing us to do that, by a certain day. That way we're not,
Well, I
waiting
think
at the last minute or
going
missing
forward,
any
if
deadlines.
Eleanor and I are going to be working more closely in some kind of chair relationship, it would have to be both of us receiving the materials.
What do you refer to receiving materials? What do you mean by that?
The agenda.
Yeah,
I receive it today.
You do? Okay.
Yeah.
it's pretty much the same as what we do now. Just looking to have a set day
That date, so that
confirmed.
essentially we need to respond on that date.
Yep.
So one thing that would be helpful before finalizing the agenda is getting the prior meetings minutes so we can see if there are any follow-ups that should be added to the agenda. So I don't know what you guys,
It might be a quick turnaround for Judy, because usually that's like only a week between meetings, between one meeting to the next Tuesday posting the agenda. So I think that's not always possible. We'll run into some difficulties if we do that.
isn't this meeting recorded using AI? So it can summarize the meeting and then she can make edits.
I get them
I
done
don't know.
as soon as I possibly can,
Okay.
and it's within the open meeting law. I mean,
Yeah.
I understand that, but if there's follow-up things, then the commissioners could certainly make a note.
Okay. And then can I ask another follow-up question? So Judy, you draft the agenda and then Ethan typically finalizes it with the chair. And then who's responsible for posting the agenda and meeting materials?
Send them to be posted.
I'm so sorry, Judy.
I send them to be posted. I do.
Okay.
Okay, you send them to be posted.
Okay.
All right. Your microphone has been distorting everything tonight, Judy, unfortunately.
Okay. And it's Sherry who posts it?
Yes, Sherry or Jen or the town clerk, just depending on what it is.
Town clerk posts the agenda and Sherry or Jen posts the meeting materials.
Okay. Thanks.
Okay, so
I think what could
agenda
work.
confirmation on a week before the meeting and meeting materials due by Thursday. So we'll.
Sure. So I just suggest, I think we said before, maybe getting the agenda to you by Tuesday afternoon, and then you confirm it, so we have it by Wednesday morning, I think is what we had suggested.
That's fine.
That makes sense.
That would probably work.
And then As far as meeting materials, we could set up something, a consistent process, or I could just have you confirm those each meeting. Is there a way you'd prefer to do it? I know in the past, we would usually just have a consistent process with Jimmy, but do you want to post, the same things each week, or have it vary depending on the agenda?
I'm not sure I understand what you're asking.
Like, what we used to do is like any new item from a public hearing would be posted. And
Right.
that was like the consistent thing we could do. That way, I would just post that, like without having
Post
to
the meeting
confirm.
materials, but
Yeah.
associated with the new item, but not repost materials from a prior agenda's items that have carried.
Yeah, and not posting, the other business or the discussions. It was just a consistent, anything with a public hearing was posted, keeps it
Right.
simple, keeps it, available for public comments. So having something consistent would prevent us from having to check in with each other, which I'm happy to do that if you want to do it that way. But as soon as the agenda is confirmed, we could work towards posting the materials with that way.
I think that makes sense. I don't think we need to keep, for example, this pack self-storage that we've been dealing with. I don't think we need to keep reposting the materials every 2 weeks as we've carried it forward. On the other hand, if it's a matter that was on the agenda and several months have gone by before we take it up again, it might be useful to refresh people's memories with the materials.
I-
Go ahead, Eleanor.
I know we're limited with this new site redesign, but in the old days, I think, and Judy, correct me if I'm wrong, I think the agent had the ability to, post the materials directly and just leave them up there. So you would have a project, and for example, since we discussed 50 Quantapowhat, the plans would stay up, and then you'd have the new stormwater report and the, response from the,
Town
Bill
engineer.
Renault.
The
Um,
agent didn't post it.
I'm
And
sorry.
the agent did not post the material.
Okay.
And there's, I think, a size constraint to keeping all the materials up there continuously.
Mm-hmm. So can we add a link? So like in this example, it's been some months with 50 Quantapowhat. So just to have, mention in the meeting materials, the link to the last package that it was discussed or something. I just think it makes,
The materials remain on the website. So if someone looks at a previous hearing, they'll see the materials for that project.
Yeah, the materials stay posted with the date that it was on the meeting, so you can always look back to it at a previous agenda. Those will stay on the website, at least for a good chunk of time.
So I think that is what's happening is what you're looking for, Eleanor, but the one sort of missing element here is information for the public to be able to find that.
mm-hmm. And typically, I think if you're approving a new policy or something that's going to, going to another commission, sorry, going to another board, you would typically, that you'd be voting on, that's something that would typically also be included in meeting materials. But we can talk more about it, at a meeting with Aaron and Ethan, just sort of the pros and cons. Like we want to make this efficient, but people do ask for meeting materials. So if you want to be forwarding them to people who request it or what.
Ethan, you can't include a live link in every agenda, I presume, for a particular matter. For example, the one tonight. I don't
I'm
think.
not familiar enough with that. I think
Mhm.
there actually is a link. I see on this agenda, there's a link to the Conservation Commission meeting materials page. So I assume that takes you right to the materials. If I'm
No,
reading
I'm
that
just
correctly.
going to see. Meeting material,
I have it on paper, so I can't click the link, but it looks like a
May
hyperlink.
12th, 2026. I'm just opening it to see what's there. So there's plans for the 50 Quantapilot Parkway site. Multiple pages of that. So you're right. It's public hearing materials which are posted. And what?
I think if you wanted to
And
change the
then
way
that,
it's
and
done,
then the drainage calcs and stormwater management plan, all. And in total, 253 pages of materials are available as meeting materials for tonight.
yeah, I
So
think
the answer is yeah, it's there.
Okay.
if you wanted to change the way it's done, that might be like a different conversation and more just asking, the current way we do it, what do you want to post? Again, is it
Well, I mean,
just
I
saying
think
the public hearings, or do you want to pick each item each week and then let me know in advance? I can do either option.
my own thought would be that the current process probably should provide enough materials for folks. The question is whether we're looking for. It's difficult to deal with other business matters and be able to post them as meeting materials, I presume.
Yeah, they're not usually things that are made to be public. They're not like the permits with the public hearing process. So
Right.
best practice is probably just to keep those for you guys. You can have all the background information and discuss it together.
Mhm. Okay.
I think the past we've made those available on request when if somebody, wants to see a copy of what we're discussing so they can write,
Right.
and that's fine.
So the
Okay.
way we have it now is fine for you guys?
Well, the way
I-
we have it now, I've sort of been asking Paul with each agenda what he wants to be posted, because we started kind of having different things posted that veered from just the public hearings. So I think what you're saying is almost just going back to the original way of just the public hearing items posted, like the new items being posted.
Why don't
Well,
we,
go
maybe
ahead.
we spend more time talking about this offline, but I think a best practice is if a board is taking a vote on a matter that's going to be a recommendation to another board, just as an example, or it's going to be, let's beaver management plan. We want to vote to send that to the health, Board of Health. Typically, we'd want that included in the meeting materials or on the website or something.
Yes.
So, because we're kind of taking an official action and sending it to another board. So that's where I think is like a, kind of baseline thing we should be doing in addition to the sort of public hearing information.
Sure. So that I think things like that only come up once every year or two when it comes to policy, setting new policies. So might be something
Right.
you just bring up when it comes up.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it makes sense that materials like that should be posted. Both for us and also for the broader public, because we're approving them with an idea that they would become a public document. So. Okay.
Sure. So Just to recap, we'll get you the agenda like Tuesday afternoon at the latest.
Mhm.
Confirm it with us so we can
By
come in
Wednesday
Wednesday
morning.
morning and have that answer.
Yep.
And then we'll sort the materials on the agenda and have that posted on Thursday.
Okay.
Or sent to be posted on Thursday.
Does that work for everybody?
Mhm.
Okay.
Having a trail of information is a good thing.
Yes. And making sure we have the information we need to have have an informed discussion. Okay, I think we're good.
Thank you.
Thanks, Ethan.
Yep. Thank you.
Let's see what else we have here now. Draft wetland bylaw discussion. Jennifer, you did a great job in putting that together. You really did.
Agreed.
Thank you.
Yeah, phenomenal.
And I worked my way through it. I found a very small number of word nits that I would forward to you at some point. But otherwise, I did not have matters that I felt we needed to modify at all. But I'd leave it open to other folks to say, I think, what would be our next step on this if we're all happy with this?
I know, sorry not to cut you off, but town engineer Bill Renaud suggested maybe him and I sitting down with some of the commission to look at this if you think the bylaws starting to take a next step. So, and that could be a good next step to look ahead for.
To go through with Bill.
Yep.
Okay.
I know he had some comments, and I think I had some comments as well.
Okay.
Just before we get too far along, we can address the main concerns.
All right. I think that would make sense. I also think it would make sense for Jennifer and or Eleanor as the primary authors of the document to be involved in those conversations. And I'm happy to join in if you need me. I don't want to add too many people to the discussion. Additionally, if 3 of us show up, we have a meeting
Mhm.
and a quorum issue, so it may be more appropriate for it to be scheduled for convenience of Jennifer and Eleanor then, and I'll provide my thoughts in writing back.
So maybe Eleanor and I can schedule with Bill and find a time, Bill and Ethan.
Okay,
Yeah.
let's do
Okay.
that.
I mean, I think if anyone has concerns about the thresholds that I put in, it would make sense to, bring that up.
Mhm.
One thing that I think, want feedback on is about emergency projects. I actually put it, if I could share my screen, I actually put
Sure.
these 2 paragraphs
Go
into a
ahead.
document. So the top language is what's currently in the bylaw. Which says the bylaw shall not apply to emergency projects
Mhm.
ordered or performed by the state or the town, which essentially kind of removes I think the check of the Conservation Commission. Which is why I thought the MAC language I thought was more protective, and this is the MAC language. I've highlighted a couple of things that we've already gotten feedback on would probably not work with the way that MAC recommends it. Essentially saying permit is not required for emergency projects, provided it's performed or ordered by the state or the town that's necessary for the protection of public health and safety, provided certain conditions, notice to the commission either before or within 24 hours after. Bill made a recommendation that we not try to replicate or create our own certification process that DEP uses, which makes sense to me. However, we probably want to say that, provided that, this work will be allowed, provided that the work is performed only for the time and place that's reported to the commission for the limited purpose necessary for the abatement of the emergency. That a permit application be filed with the commission within 21 days. And if this isn't done, the commission could schedule a public hearing about the work that was done. And in addition to that, I thought it would make sense, or, I suggest adding, if we go with this language that Max suggests, that if work qualifies as an emergency under the Wetlands Protection Act, if the notification to the DEP includes all of the jurisdictional wetland areas under both the WPA and the bylaw, meaning that if it impacts an intermittent stream, an isolated wetland, a vernal pool, if they include that in the notice, describe all of the work affecting all of those areas, then they could just copy that to the commission, which would reduce the amount of work by making it essentially one document and just copying it to the commission. But then the rest of these, provisions would still apply.
So you're suggesting you take out the provided, the highlighted language, the language highlighted in yellow.
Mhm. That's right.
Okay. So it'd be notice to the commission, no need for certification as an emergency project. And I agree that certified by the commission, if the commission isn't certifying the project at that point, the work is performed only for the time and place described to the commission makes sense. And the 21-day window for filing a permit application, which describes what's been done. I would perhaps suggest, Jennifer, that a permit application describing the work completed or work undertaken shall be filed by the committee with the commission. Thanks. Is that acceptable, folks?
Do we need to say certified in writing, or is that obvious? Like, I think when we do.
Well, advance notices, oral or written, given to the commission prior to commencement of work.
Mhm.
Taking out, in fact, I would suggest let's just remove that language that's in yellow so we.
But like, how are we determining something's an emergency project?
I think if it's assuming it's a town project or it's a state project, they make that determination and tell us that it's an emergency.
Okay.
Do you want this to be written? I mean, I think that's better for record keeping.
Yeah, I mean, problem with the phone call is only one person gets it.
Mhm.
Well, if this looks good, I'll make this substitution in the document.
Yeah, I mean, the question is, Jennifer, where do you think you'd put this additional language down below? Would that just
Uh,
follow?
I mean, I think it would just right here at the end of,
Okay, now but I guess what I'm trying to understand is I don't see a discussion in this paragraph about notice to DEP. There's only notice to the commission here.
right. So, okay, so for work qualifying as an emergency project under the wetlands regulations, if the notification to DEP includes, isn't that covering what you're asking about?
I guess my thought might be up above where we have provided that advance written notice has been given to the commission and DEP. Right there. Where applicable, yeah.
Right.
Yep. That acceptable?
Yeah.
Okay. With that, I'd say you can bring that following paragraph in and
Okay, yeah, I'll put this into the draft, and the clean copy. Send that to Bill. Yeah, hopefully we'll be able to meet soon. I know we've had, a member of the public asking for a new draft to be put up.
yeah, I
So,
saw that.
um, potentially scheduling a meeting, receiving feedback, responding to the feedback. I mean, I think last time that took weeks. So I wonder if it makes sense to go ahead and, post our current clean draft, with this substitution. I think the types of concerns that will be of concern to Bill, I think are going to be different, from what the public are.
I think this one is going to be a concern to Bill.
Yes.
Emergency projects are obviously something that engineering and public works have to do.
Yeah.
So I think this is the one place he might have some comments. But I think this is a fairly broad authorization. And 21 days, 3 weeks, 21 calendar days, business days. What are we talking about? Have we generally been using just calendar days here throughout this document?
Usually if it's 10 or more, it's calendar days. Anything
Okay.
less is business days. At least that's
Thank you.
for the most part.
That's the typical approach to regulations. Okay, that's fine. Okay, now I'm good with this.
Okay. Let me do one last look at my email and see if there's anything else. The other big change was the administrative review part.
Mhm.
Okay.
And that makes sense to me, the way you've set it up.
Okay. One note about the fee schedule.
Did you borrow someone else's concept there?
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. Yeah. So I think Concord had put together information comparing several towns on their fee schedules for their local bylaw, and this kind of, I think we're sort of in the middle of what places do. Some do less, some do more, but I think ours is pretty simple in the sense that they're really tied, they're really identical and non-duplicative with the
Right.
Wetlands Protection Act. The one exception was it seemed like most towns do charge a fee, usually $100 for an RDA, request for determination of applicability. The Wetlands
Mhm.
Protection Act doesn't charge a fee, but the most towns that have a bylaw that anyway were reviewed by Concord did of $100. It just I think accounts for the agent's time, generates a little income, but if people don't like that, I can.
I guess the question I would ask about that is, do we ever need to employ specialists in something like that? That would require, or in those cases, are we recouping that through a separate assessment of an applicant?
Well, the bylaw, says that we can sort of require that a consultant be hired at the applicant's expense. So,
Okay, so we have that authorization separate,
yeah.
right? I remember that now. Okay, then I guess I'm open to either.
Yeah, I mean, if we have it at 0, we can say no new fees. I mean, except for the kind of bylaw only fees, but
Bylaw only application fees, right?
yeah. But, considering that the bylaw does have the potential to, generate a little more work for Ethan and Elaine, I think that's why there's often a fee for the RDA.
$100 is hardly a showstopper since most applicants are substantial enough.
I'm just trying to think why an RDA under the bylaw would create more work. But Ethan would probably you'd be best able to answer that.
I think the alternative would be it not being an RDA at all. So it's like either an RDA or not jurisdictional. So it's more work compared to if it was just nothing. I think it's what
They asked you and you said there's no.
Well, an administrative review has no fee, so someone could always seek
Right.
out an administrative review if they thought they qualified.
Mhm.
it doesn't sound like anything unmanageable. I don't think you get that coming across too often anyways.
I don't think we've seen one in quite a while.
Or the RDA, I mean,
Yeah,
under the bylaw.
sorry. Yeah,
If you
I
had an
would say
RDA that was
leave it at
only applicable to
$100
the
and
bylaw.
it's not.
Mhm. Okay. Okay. And then, what do we think about posting a draft?
I had a question.
Yeah.
In your first paragraph in your email, you talk about the application of pesticides and herbicides.
Yeah.
And with the definition for alter. I just wondered if when you got into the pesticides and herbicides, do you discuss or to restrict or oversee the method used? Because, a lot of things are just in those pesticides transferred by air. And you don't want to kill off a whole section of the wetlands because there's one small area that they're treating. I know on our last site visit, you mentioned injections, but I don't know if that's the normal process or not.
Yeah, I think those guidelines are largely defined by the state law and regulations on pesticides, including what can be done within 10 feet and I forget the other 25 or 100 feet of a wetland. I don't, I think with this, the question that I had to consider with this and do some reading and consulting on was whether we can include this without sort of infringing on essentially the state's rights to exclusively regulate pesticide use, including who can use what pesticide in what area. And the reason I think that we can include this is because we're not sort of regulating that who can use what, but rather just saying you just can't destroy the first 25 feet of buffer area by any means, whether it's
So it would cover airborne.
yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Yeah. I think it would cover anything. And actually I think it is that is something maybe that we should see if we agree on today is, I think the way the bylaw is written right now, this would cover the 100-foot buffer area. But I think Ethan commented on that, saying that's a lot of effort, a lot of area to regulate pesticide use. So we could make it a smaller area, 25 foot, which would be equivalent to the no disturb zone. The only thing is that if the area were, let's say, a vernal pool habitat, then we'd not be protecting that. So I could put something in that's like after administrative review.
Anybody else have any thoughts besides myself about airborne?
Yeah, I've definitely seen drift happen. I think you'd want 50 foot, I feel like I've seen orders of condition, but maybe I'm imagining it on some projects where we've said, no pesticides or herbicides within 50 feet of the wetland.
We've
Can,
issued that in specific orders, yes.
yeah, but
Would it work in just general terms, or does it have to be specific?
I mean, it's really like without a permit, like don't use this without a permit.
But the state already has regulations in that regard, don't they?
They do, but I
But
think they
those
would
regulations
allow.
don't necessarily apply to the wetlands that we're trying to regulate, right?
Right.
That, yeah, that's
There's
true,
there's
I
the
think.
road.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think a homeowner might be allowed to use certain pesticides within 25 feet, 10 feet now. I'm not sure. I'd have to go back and check.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's important that you did the research, and thank you for that. And put it in some language here that we can talk about.
You're welcome. Thanks. And Eleanor, you're suggesting 50 feet for that.
I think without like some sort of language, without, a review or
Uh-huh.
a permit, um,
Yeah.
because there's that risk of, altering vegetation. On the other hand, I do think the state is looking at trying to figure out ways to, or DEP streamline things like invasive removal, you know, and make it more of an administrative review type project.
Mhm.
Right. And I think but we may want to have a hard limit at 25 feet because that is the no disturb zone, the no
Yeah,
touch.
yeah. Okay.
So some kind of language that's not within 25 feet. Again, without a permit, but also maybe 50 feet with administrative review.
Well, 20, if you want to go with 25, I think it's hard. It's hard.
Essentially, we've established 25 feet as a no-touch buffer.
Yeah, so that would be
Right.
consistent and supportable.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'll make that change, the emergency projects, send a new copies and yeah, do we want this draft to go up on the website? We do have,
We
Yeah.
have people asking for it, and I think at some point we want comments.
yeah,
Mhm.
We need to address them, so probably
would-
now is the time.
Start the ball rolling.
Yeah, and I would keep the others up and just call it draft 3 or whatever.
Yeah, I agree.
all right.
Well, it's become my study guide,
It,
my resource.
it's a good job in terms of pulling together the issues and concerns we're dealing with.
I think so. From my viewpoint, which is again, newbie.
Well, it's much more compact than the Wetlands Protection Act, actually.
Hey, guys, I apologize. I'm going to um, log out and log back in.
Okay.
My fire alarm keeps going off, and we've got to shut off the power to the house. So I'm going to dial in through my phone momentarily until I can restart and log back in. But you guys can proceed.
Okay. We should also take a
And-
look. What else is on our agenda here? Are we finished with the bylaw discussion at this point?
Yeah.
So I think our last item is the open space and recreation plan. At this point.
Yep, so we're looking to get a letter of review or letter of support from the commission today.
Okay.
So the consultants incorporated all of our edits. I sent that around to you about a month ago.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty straightforward. Everything that we've suggested has been included. Updated the maps finally, so it's essentially good to move forward.
Did they explain in writing to you why they were like, can you forward us the email, like why they recommended um, keeping it separate? Because again, even in some of the sections, like the appendices, there's a lot of like page one, page one, page one, that type of thing. Um, and if they explained what they took or didn't take, I just think you guys want to be prepared to address, like not just say you addressed all the comments, but have a list of what changed, like we talked about, because you're going to have to go back to town council and say, what changed. And I think in likelihood, since that whole body has changed over, they may, reach out to their former colleagues and say, what were your concerns? And we'll hear the same issues over again.
Yep, I'll definitely make sure that's prepared for the council. But as
But
far as the
I think
report being in
sorry.
separate documents, it's more of just the way it's constructed. Each section is just a different document that's put together to make the whole plan. And it also allows you to update things like the appendices throughout the year a little easier.
I think it makes sense for each appendix to start its own numbering.
Yeah.
And you're okay with 111, 31?
I'm sorry. You mean numbering them appendix 1, appendix 1, page 1, 1, 2, 1, 3, etc. And appendix 3, page 1. So you number them 3, 1, 3, 2, 3, 3. I think that's appropriate.
Actually, that's a great idea. What I was seeing that, for example, on the accessibility appendices, those were not numbered sequentially. There was a lot of repetitions, like a lot of page ones. So if you have like 100 pages of,
Accessibility.
yeah, it was like page one, 3, 1, 2. It was strange.
That's pretty on the nose for being accessibility.
And I didn't see Arundel Ave on the action plan map. Like they didn't update the shape of that.
I thought I saw it on there. I can take a look. That was one of the main things that we had brought to them.
So if they can just, like I think at our last meeting, we were reluctant to approve a document that was not, final. So I think getting it from writing in them, like why, you know, how they addressed our comments and that this is a final version. Like they believe this is a final version.
Well, the final version is only final once it's fully approved by the state. And are you referring to the consultants when you say they?
Yeah, the consultants. Wait, it seems like we've gotten some bad information, right?
Well,
10
we're
years, 7 years. Like,
well at this point we're all done with the consultants. We've utilized the rest of the budget to produce this one final document. So once it goes through the town council, it'll go back to the state, and that's what makes it a final version.
can you forward the email from the consultants attaching what they believe was the final? Like what their
I've
best,
sent along.
do you get what I'm saying? Just
Yeah,
forward us.
that's what I've sent along about a month ago, I believe.
But it
Unless I'm
didn't,
misunderstanding.
oh, yeah, I saw the attachments, but it didn't look like it came from the consultant.
Well, that's how I received it from the consultant and then forwarded it along to you guys. So that's just how it's done. I don't know. I must be misunderstanding the question. I'm sorry.
Can you forward the
Did they forward it
email?
in an email, Ethan?
So you want Ethan just to
Yeah.
forward the exact email
They got
of
from
the
the consultants. Yep.
Okay, sure.
So we can say
Yeah.
this is the final from the consultants. This is what the consultant's final thing.
Ethan, you can probably do that right now.
Yeah. Yeah. I'll take a look. It would have been some time ago, but
Okay.
Okay. All right.
So you're suggesting based on what the engineers put forth, signed off on, basically, I guess, if that's what it is, that we're basing our approval on that, right? There's no other body of advisors or weigh-ins.
Well, there was an open space and recreation subcommittee, but they haven't met in some time. I think this plan was written before our times and we kind of inherited it. And so I think we've gotten a number of concerns
From the public, you're saying?
from the public. The town council rejected it twice. So again, I think, you know, me personally, I have professional standards I have to adhere to. And so, when we ask for things to be numbered, for links to be updated so that they're current, but the solution is that they're removed and the appendices are broken out and still not numbered, to me, it doesn't feel like a final document. Um, and with all the versioning, like there's no version date, so I have a hard time personally knowing what I am approving.
I've just forwarded that along. It might
Okay.
See that?
take a minute with the attachment sizes.
Okay. Thank you.
Paul, can I ask a question?
Sure.
Eleanor, do you just not want to approve the plan? Like, or you just have serious concerns with what's in the plan? Because I thought all those things were addressed and I saw that it was addressed.
But we just say it's addressed, but you got like I think the town council members were pretty clear about the pocket park thing. So I thought we had gone through and just made some changes to soften that and make it broader and say we would look at like you know um prioritize the issue is if we just approve this, I don't think we can actually change the goals that much without doing a resubmission. I just don't know what the latitude is we have. But we did get an email from the one member of the public who was very critical of the process, and I can forward that to you. And I know, you think this is a check the box. I mean, I
I
know we
don't.
need a plan.
Yeah.
But in this state, I'm not comfortable approving it. And I can, write a letter and send that to you guys if that's helpful.
Can you explain it, why? Because I'm pretty sure all the council edits were put in, your edits were put in. I feel like we've been doing this for a long time now. I don't think we're going to get any further with this at this point. I don't think it will ever be what you want it to be, unfortunately. And I think we need to move it along. We don't have the consultant anymore, or it's just it's done. So I think we need some action by the Conservation Commission for a letter review. Either you want to move it along or you don't.
I will open it up to others.
Well, I think we move it along. The process wasn't an ideal process. It's gone on for several years at this point. We need to complete it for purposes of a variety of matters related to grant applications and the like for the town.
Correct.
I'm not sure how much it's used. Historically, it's been used by town bodies or even reviewed by them. Other than the town council, which did review it and offered comments, to be honest, I'm not sure who else pays attention to it.
I can speak for myself. I've reviewed the document. I know a few others that were on the advisory group or
Okay.
subgroup, whatever you want to call it, all reviewed it.
Mhm.
You know, no one can guarantee what's going to be done with the plan, but I think in good faith, we would like to use it as a plan. None of this is concrete. You have goals and ideas and recommendations to kind of guide the town, but it doesn't mean that that's the end all be all. And
Right. It's not set in concrete.
exactly.
Right. Agreed.
But
It-
there were other eyes on it outside of town council. So I think we would appreciate if the board is comfortable. I believe Ethan did do a letter of review. If we could move this forward one way or the other.
Right.
Thank you.
I think on that question of, whether to move it forward tonight. So, there was the issue with the plan, I think, being prematurely sent to the state by the consultant, which started the clock running. My thought had been, and I think we got feedback that, we're kind of locked into that 7-year plan now, or we can't,
We
to
are,
essentially
yes.
where the clock started. But I don't think we heard that from the state, and it seems like the state perhaps bears maybe some or played some role in the clock starting when it shouldn't have. So, I wonder if that request can go to the state. I think it does bear on the plan document because the plan, I think, currently says 7 years.
And it's less than 7 years at this point. We're down to between 4 and 5.
Right. And because these plans, I mean, I imagine they involve town resources, expense because we paid the consultants and, all of the town departments and committees are being asked to cut budgets. And so it seems like we have an additional reason to try to extend this as much as possible and not be 4 years from now hiring new consultants to do another OSRP.
So we spoke to the DCR, Melissa Cryan is her name, right after we met last time. And the conditional date is the date that it was set, unfortunately. And so as of right now, the date is the date of March 20, what are we in, 2026? 2023, Judy, is that correct?
Yes,
So we spoke
2033?
to them. I believe, Paul, we gave you that information.
I'm sorry?
I think we sent that information along to you.
Yep. Yes, this was about a month or two ago when we last talked about it.
So,
Ethan, oh, sorry.
so the date that the clock started was 2023?
No, 2024.
I'm sorry.
But we're
2024.
confirming from the state that the conditional approval is what started it.
And so it
2024.
is now 2031 is
Yep.
when the
Correct.
next plan would need to be developed. So we don't have a choice
This
about
plan will
that.
expire. Yes.
We
Okay.
get somewhat between 4 and 5 years, as I said. And my own suggestion would be that we approve it at this point, or we issue the letter that is needed. Ethan, could you show us that draft of the letter? Can you share it on the
I
screen?
didn't see
Sure.
it. Yeah, I apologize.
This is one that I had just drafted for you, Paul, just as sort of an example of what that could be or what that could look like.
Okay.
Pull it up in a second. And I mean, the minimum requirement, like we discussed, is just understanding that you've had the opportunity to review and comment on the plan. So
Wait,
it's
can
common
you
to
share your, oh, sorry.
That's what he's doing.
it's common to, offer support, but it's just at minimum that you've had the opportunity to review it.
I thought we were writing a letter of support to the town council. Sorry, it was,
No, as part of this, the Recreation Department, the Conservation Commission, Planning Board, the Town Council, and one more, I'm forgetting, Board of Health, I believe, or maybe they're not on it anymore. All right,
The regional planning.
I'll do the same
commission.
kind of letter of review.
correct.
Okay.
And these letters were provided, I think the commission provided a letter at the time, but given the time that's passed, we're just looking for a more recent one.
All right.
Aaron, just a question to you.
Mhm.
The thing that the town councilors in the past had a hard time with was objective 2B, prioritizing location, like the pocket parks.
Yep, I see that.
And the new, do you, given the sort of budget focus, do you think there would be an opportunity to just broaden, like not make it so specific? Because really something more along the lines of evaluate our existing inventory and determine what's appropriate for protected status, Article 97, determine what our current needs are and whether we have what it takes to maintain them. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, so you're
Versus,
talking about objective to ensure all residents have access to high quality parks, recreation areas, and open spaces. That one,
yeah,
proximity to where they live. So I'm reading the one, prioritize locations for neighborhood pocket parks to diversify and expand recreation opportunities, natural areas, and other public spaces. Evaluate the feasibility of the following. So the way I read that is, yes, we can prioritize it. Doesn't mean that we need to go ahead and create these pocket parks. That's kind of, I think, what they mean by that. I won't make assumptions, but that's the way I read it. And again, it's a plan. It doesn't mean that we need to go out and do this tomorrow. You guys could have ideas, or someone in the town hall, DPW, could say, oh, down the road, this has great potential to be a pocket park, right? But right now, like you said, with how the budgets are, I don't know if that would be a priority right now for the town. So I hope that answers your question.
well, I honestly, my issue is that in the, hiring people, it should just be assess hiring. We got a lot of negative feedback, about the pocket parks, that the feedback we heard, when we reopened, and in fact, we got letters from a neighborhood saying we don't think we don't want pocket parks in the neighborhood. Lake Quannapowitt
Oh,
is a
no,
park. It doesn't need, so, um, I guess what I'm saying is, I think that was the thing the commission, sorry, the town council had a hard time with. So and
So,
pushed back on twice. So if we go back a third time, not having addressed that or sort of softened that and made it broader, a lot of feedback we've gotten is we need to invest in our parks. Like as you and I saw you know, um,
yeah, and
when we went, yeah,
when we went on the sidewalk. Yeah, no, I
yeah,
mean, I think that's a good point. I think, yes, our parks, there's some places that could use some attention. Again, with the pocket parks idea, I'm assuming that didn't come out of thin air and they just put that in there. I'm assuming somewhere along the way in surveys that there were other folks that said they liked pocket parks. And Judy, mistake me if I'm wrong, you were kind of the leading the charge there. Again, nothing is set in stone here. This is a very high level plan of things to think about. It doesn't mean, we would always have outreach to different groups and stuff if that was ever a consideration to do a pocket park of, working with the neighbors and things like that. It wouldn't be something that the town would just do overnight.
And
It's
I
something
just
for
want
us.
to point out, one pocket park has been created on Ballister Street, and one is going to be created this spring at the intersection of Green and Oak Street.
hmm
So,
They're being done thoughtfully and as part of, like Bill tries to incorporate things into plans like that intersection reconstruction, so it can be dovetailed into that.
and that always has included, correct, like public participation and outreach for those
Correct.
neighborhoods.
Correct.
So hopefully,
I mean, Eleanor, we're not saying these must be done either. The way that the objective 2B talks about it is prioritizing locations for neighborhood pocket parks and evaluating the feasibility of the following.
mhm,
okay.
We're
yeah,
not committing anyone to have to do these specific things.
that's correct, Paul.
I'm reading directly from the language of the OSRP there.
Okay.
It's a plan, it's a guide. It does not commit the town to any specific action. It sets sets guidance for how the town should proceed, subject obviously to a raft of things, public input, budgets, and ultimately availability of space as well as other resources. So which is why I think we should move it forward as a guide to the town's actions. It's better than having an expired situation, which is where we sit right now.
Yeah, and given the financial outlook that were talking about too, I mean, we're unfortunately the clock is ticking and I don't want to go backwards on that whole situation, but who knows what 2031 is going to look like to be able to either update this plan or create a new one. So I think it's important for us to think about this now and hopefully capitalize on some great grant opportunities that we can take advantage of to help parks that we looked at, Eleanor, like the one over on Nacella or other parks in town, where unfortunately right now not having an OSRP kind of puts us at a disadvantage or we cannot apply for them.
Right. So, Aaron, one thing we have to do with that is in order to get a grant is to put those in Article 97 status. So like Nacella, I'm not sure it has it. Arundel
Yep.
Ave qualifies for Article 97 since it was acquired via purchase town vote.
Yep. Okay.
And then will we be getting a copy of the what's the word? The housing production plan inventory to just assess whether there's no like overlap?
Sure. I know it's live on the website right now, the housing production plan, but we'll be happy to send that over to you tonight.
Oh, okay. But the inventory too? Like the,
It should be on there.
oh, okay.
Be in the
I've seen it
plan.
before.
Yeah.
Oh, good. Okay.
So,
But I think, folks, we really do need to act on this.
Okay. Drew, Barbara?
Yeah,
It-
I'm
yeah.
comfortable.
From where where I'm coming from, I don't have the history, but I've certainly reviewed it. And I think it's broad enough. But as Paul says, it's really an outline for a future. I don't think it's so specific and so narrow that it's going to restrict, but the most important thing that you all raise is the grant money. I mean, just being able to function as we go forward in whatever environment we're going to find ourselves in this world.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So Aaron, would you be like supportive of us collaborating with you to identify some of these spaces like Nacella Field and putting together the, history and background and taking those to town council to put them into Article 97 status, for example, so that they.
well, I think with Ethan as well. I mean,
Mhm.
definitely Ethan, I think would be the one you'd be working with, but I think we'd look at what process looks like between various departments through town, not just myself. But
Mhm.
no, I'm not going to commit to what they're going to,
Well,
what other people
sorry,
will.
no, but like, would you be a champion? Like obviously, like,
Of course, I mean, I think most of us want to see kind of, I'm not going to say yes or no, but I think most of us want to see our playgrounds, play structures, any space in town be improved. And so I guess I'll put it at that. But
okay,
because I think both in the master plan, this open space plan, I think even it was called out in the housing production plan. I think the importance of having and protecting what we have for open space, greenery, playgrounds, I think it's fairly important. I think, again, this is just a tool in our toolbox as we, again, look for grants and other various opportunities. It would be a shame if we didn't have this, again, as a tool. So.
okay. Does someone want to make a motion?
To authorize this letter of review.
Or Jennifer, how are you feeling? Are you?
Yeah, I mean, I think kind of given the discussion, yeah, I'm ready to vote on this.
Okay. So we need a motion to authorize, is this for me to sign or as chair? What is this?
Yeah,
Yeah,
for you
I
to
can't
sign.
read the signature line.
I think I just had your name on there.
All right,
For the chair at the time.
thanks.
I'll make a motion to accept this letter to Melissa Cryan at Division of Conservation Services approving the open space and recreation plan.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to authorize moving forward with this letter of review for the OSRP, the 2024 OSRP, and approving the plan's goals. All in favor? Barbara,
Yes.
Eleanor,
Yes.
Jennifer,
Yes.
Drew,
Yes.
and I vote yes. Thank you. We have finally finished.
Thank
It's
you.
just the beginning.
I know, I understand. Ethan, one suggestion, just add my middle initial of F into that signature, please.
Got it.
I always sign it that way. And if you want, send me a final version. I'll drop a digital copy of my signature in.
Sure.
Or you can send me a hard copy. I can print a hard copy and drop you an original, whatever you need.
Either way should work.
Okay.
I'll get that too as soon as I can.
Great,
And I
thanks.
think we just want to first off thank you guys for your work on this and adding comments. I also just want to thank Judy and Ethan, who I know have been working really hard on this behind the
Yeah,
scenes. So it's
Judy,
been a
Judy had
collective
the
effort.
long
Yeah.
order on this for a long time,
Yeah.
and
So I
did
appreciate
a heck of a
everything.
job marshaling it through this process. So thank you, Judy.
Thank
for
you,
all
everyone.
that info.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay,
Okay. Thank you so much.
all right, next. I think that may cover our agenda matters. Is there any other business beyond these matters that we need to discuss tonight?
Just
I just
oh,
had
go
this,
on.
sorry, you go ahead.
No, you go ahead, Ethan.
I talked to you, Paul, the other day about that maintenance plan from 200 Quantapowhat.
Mm-hmm.
So they drafted a maintenance plan for just based on the order of conditions, and they're looking for us to approve it. So I was asking Paul if that's something that you guys wanted to review, do that at the next meeting, or if you're good to allow me to go ahead and give the okay on that. Paul suggested just having you guys look at it at the meeting. I think that makes the most sense.
What's the maintenance plan? Like
It was for
vegetation?
just the general operations and maintenance
Of
plan.
the open space at 200 Quantapowhat.
Yeah.
I'd like to
It's needs to be consistent with the order of conditions that the commission issued back when we authorized that construction to move forward, which
So it
I'm
just
back.
provides more details now that they're close to actually starting that maintenance or the ongoing maintenance, provides more precise dates and timelines. So
it'd be
that
great.
wasn't able to be done with the order of conditions. So they've provided that now, and they're just looking to make sure we're okay with it.
Okay, yeah, I think best circulated. We have a week to the next meeting, and we should be able to get through it and turn it around to them.
Sure,
Would that
sounds good.
And it would be monitored? Is that what you're suggesting?
Yeah, they have
to have an
they
environmental
did
monitor
monitoring.
involved in their construction activities.
Yeah.
But wouldn't the maintenance plan apply to the building owners?
Yeah, it would be on the property owners to
Right.
ensure that's being followed or to actually do the work.
Okay.
These are rental units, correct?
I believe so. Yeah.
Yes.
So
Wouldn't be on them.
the
but-
building owner who's making the submittals, we're not dealing with the condo association and 250 or 440 separate owners.
Correct.
So
Be a little easier if that's the one.
much easier to deal with.
Who's the current property owner? Is it Equity?
It was Cabot and Forbes. I don't know, are they still, or did they sell it to another?
Kevin Forbes, and then they have a financial partner. I think it's
Right.
yeah.
But the Cabot and Forbes has been our counterparty for years now.
But they're just a real estate development company,
Yes,
right? So, okay.
exactly.
But I believe
Development
Equity-
management.
Is it
But-
Equity?
I believe that they're kind of financial people.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
They will hire a management company, I'm guessing, to actually run the
Right.
day operations.
Okay. So, okay, Ethan, you'll forward us that as well as the plan from Brian.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay.
And then just a quick question since we talked about it today for the do I need to do any follow-ups for the garlic mustard pulling thing, or Ethan, if Christine sent you if I had Christine send you a sort of news announcement, is that something you'd be willing, like you would be able to post on our news feed of the website?
I think so, yeah. I would just suggest have her talk to the commission or at least talk to one of you and make sure you're good with that if she's giving you the opportunity to review it. So I think you
Yeah,
mentioned
I'll
that
look at it.
Fazio was on
I
it.
think, yeah, and I think the places where she's doing it are probably non-jurisdictional, but she wants us to put the word, FOLQ, ESC, and Conservation Commission to kind of all be promoting
Embracing.
it. Yes, yes.
Okay.
And we're all enthusiastic. And Drew, I would love, since you do a lot of invasive removal, for you to take a look at this knotweed presentation I did last year and see if you have any suggestions, edits, and then we share and post that too.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely.
Because knotweed season's coming up.
Yeah.
Up.
Yes. Yeah. I was gonna say it's popping up like crazy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay.
Um,
And then we can see if we can put that on the next agenda.
Sure.
Just a quick approval. Okay.
and then for the next agenda, could we put 95 Audubon Road for like follow-up and possibly enforcement, depending on what the follow-up is?
Sure. I mean,
Yeah.
we're going there. Correct? No.
We don't have a site visit.
Okay.
I am. Oh,
Our site visit I'm sorry, our site visit. Yeah,
were they filling the wetlands? Like, have we,
465. Sorry.
sorry, have we or Ethan, have you gone and documented what they're doing, like with photos, so we know exactly, is this just trash or is it more substantial? Like, do we have any kind of evidence?
I
I'm
think
just driven by, when I heard that report of trash, I drove by 95 Audubon and before I reached out to the property manager. So I didn't have any pictures, but saw some trash there and that's all there was. So I didn't know any filling of the wetland there.
Okay. Erin, thank you for your patience in our
Okay.
long meeting.
No, thank you. I just hear kids fighting who should have been in bed an hour ago, but it's okay.
Okay. I thought,
No, I appreciate you guys moving this forward and the work that you guys do. And yeah, thank you to Ethan and Judy. So thank you.
thank you.
Yes, and thanks to Jennifer for all her work on the
Yeah, Jennifer.
bylaws. Really
yeah,
pulls it together.
Mm-hmm.
absolutely. Okay, so I think we need a motion to adjourn.
I'll
If
make
we
a
have
motion to
anything.
adjourn as my fire alarm is going off again.
Okay, second.
I'll
please?
second.
All right, all in favor, Barbara,
Yes.
Eleanor,
Yes,
Jennifer,
Yes.
Drew,
Yes.
yes,
and I vote yes. We are
Yes.
adjourned.
thank you.
See
Thank
you all
you.
next week, a week from tonight. Good night.